taking things forward from here, I request Ramesh Prabhu sir to please take things forward.
Request Mr. Parthasarthi, who is the Vice President of Mahaseva, to enlighten as to how to file a complaint. What are the precautions to be taken while filing the complaint? How the complaint should be drafted? So you can just enlighten, and who are the authorities, and is there any format for the complaints, and then what precaution one need to take when you are filing the complaint. Mr. Parthasarthi.
Morning, everybody. A warm welcome to everyone to this webinar. Today's second topic is related to filing of complaint. Basically, Hardire ji ने जो शुरुआत में बताया था, in as far as Maharera is concerned, state of Maharashtra, complaints can be filed both for registered projects as well as unregistered projects. And as far as the complaint filing formats are concerned, both the formats, the application format for filing complaints, both for a registered project as well as an unregistered project, shall remain the same. Now, the only difference here is complaints which are to be filed. First of all, as you all may be aware of the fact that what is the difference between a registered project and an unregistered project. So, a project which was ongoing on 1st May 2017, or which did not have its completion certificate / occupation certificate as of 1st May 2017, was compulsorily to be registered with the RERA authority. Every state has its own RERA authority, regulator, and all those projects based on that particular state wise had to be registered with the RERA authority. So similarly, if you talk about the Maharera, Maharashtra Real Estate Regulatory Authority, all projects which were ongoing as of 1st May 2017 were compulsorily needed to be registered, which were ongoing in the sense which did not receive its, had not received its completion certificate or occupation certificate. So now this was a voluntarily a sort of a system wherein each and every promoter is a new term which has been again introduced in RERA, wherein builder, developer, all those things were clubbed together, and a common term known as a promoter is being used in the RERA Act. So every promoter, promoter also consists of people who are causing the construction. So even a landowner may be a promoter in case of Maharera or RERA for that matter. So all these projects which were ongoing, the promoter had to voluntarily approach and upload all the details and register his project in the RERA website, Maharera website in case of Maharashtra. So all these projects also had a lot of, we had to declare a lot of things, starting from the name of the project, the area of the project, the what plot size, the CTS number. There are a lot of declarations which are done on the Maharera website, including the name of the promoters, the type of the company, and most importantly, there were three things which were mostly the most important things which were supposed to be declared, or the three dates of completion. That is the proposed date of completion, the revised date of completion, and the extended date of completion. So, and the number of apartments which were available for sale, and so on and so forth. So everything in detail regarding that particular project had to be registered with the authority. Now, these are the projects which are called as the registered projects. Now, there were many projects which were not registered with Maharera. Either the promoter did not come forward to register it, or probably they were not did not fall under the category of getting registered with Maharera. So, in these cases, again, earlier complaints were not entertained by Maharera, but afterwards, subsequently, after the Honorable High Court judgment, the even unregistered projects were to be told to be heard in the same way like how a registered project hearing used to happen. So all unregistered projects can also, and based on the hearings and the decision taken by the RERA authority along with the technical department, they used to, they normally arrive at a decision whether this particular project, whether that particular project is requires registration or not. So once, if the authority feels that the project requires registration, then automatically, obviously, it will be the promoter will be ordered or directed to register the project. Now, as I told you, let us talk about the projects which are registered. Unregistered projects, obviously, as I told you, once they become registered, they come and fall under the category of registered project. Now, in case of registered project, let us understand that there are three stakeholders. Basically, broadly, there are three stakeholders in this particular real estate project. The stakeholders are the promoter, who is the, as I told you, the developer, the landowner, everybody inclusive. The second stakeholder is the allottee. Allottee are the home buyers, the purchasers who are buying the apartments, flats. The third are the real estate agents. So these three are the basic three stakeholders of any real estate project. Besides this, there are other stakeholders also as far as particular sections are concerned. The architect for that project or the structural engineer, the chartered accountant, they may also, the financial institution, the planning authority in some cases, all these people may also become a sort of a stakeholder in a particular real estate project depending on case to case basis. But primarily, there are three stakeholders in the project against whom, or I would say, these are the people who may raise their complaint or against whom a complaint can be filed. So, let us consider the case of generally what happens in case of complaint being filed before the authority. More than 90% cases, I stand corrected. Mr. Hadare would be the right person to second my point. That 90% of the case which have been filed are being filed by the allottees. The complaints which have been filed with Maharera, specifically Maharera, if I want to talk about Maharashtra, state of Maharashtra. So at least 90% of the cases which have been filed are through the flat buyers. They are called as the allottees in term of the RERA term. They are called as the allottees in this project. So now what has happened is, again, if you talk about the allottees, a person who has purchased a flat, a unit in any project, that unit now will be called as a premises. This premises, whenever he is purchasing a premises in this particular project, this person becomes an allottee in this particular project. Now, this person can obviously raise a complaint or file a complaint against any of the violations committed by either the promoter or by the real estate agent. So the allottee has the right to file a complaint in case of any violation which has been committed by the promoter or by the real estate agent. Now, who are the what are the provisions, or how does somebody file a complaint, or what are the requirements for filing a complaint with the RERA authority? First of all, there are various sections which are there under the Act, totally out of the 92 sections. The first, as far as the regulatory authority is concerned, Section 1, moving on till Section 19 are the sections which are mostly applicable for wherein violations can be claimed or wherein violations normally happen in case of a promoter or even in case of an allottee for that matter. So any of these violations which start with, first of all, the main section comes as the section 3.1. Section 3.1 states about the project has to be registered. So as I told you, if project is not registered, obviously unregistered complaint can be filed by the allottee or the people who are the stakeholders, who are the affected parties in this in that particular project. Now, besides this, there are other sections, violations of other sections for which an allottee can go ahead and file a complaint. Now, the complaint filing process itself now has been divided into three different parts. As Mr. Hadre was mentioning in the initial portion, that there is something called as a conciliation forum, wherein people or the allottees who feel aggrieved can, without filing a complaint directly with the authority, can approach the conciliation forum. The conciliation forum consists of a three-member, you may say, a bench of three members, wherein the Honorable Secretary of Maharera is the one of the member. There is a member who is from the promoters category, and another member is from the consumer side. So there are three members who form the conciliation forum, and any aggrieved person can go and apply, uh, uh, file an application, online application with the conciliation forum. And in case if the matter has been able to get sorted out in the conciliation forum itself, then most probably there is a consent which is filed between both the parties, and the matter is there and then it's over. There is no further dispute which remains in that particular matter or in that particular project relating to this particular allottee and the promoter. So if the conciliation forum does not come out with any sort of outcome, then probably there are again two different methods wherein the conciliation forum itself can transfer the complaint to the authority based on the type of complaint which has been filed there, or the complainant himself can again go and approach the authority citing the conciliation failure of the conciliation forum or settlement in the conciliation forum. So he may go and approach the authority by filing a complaint. So what are the various sections? Let us understand what are the various sections or what are the various violations, I should say violation committed under various sections. So to quote a few, there may be violations in probably the advertisement part of it. The project when launched, the promoter would have not advertised or not actually gone and marketed the proper manner in the right way. Or I should also say other way, that before the project getting registered with RERA, or before the project there is a sale happening in that particular project, anybody coming and investing in that particular project, this particular section, section 12, will have a huge impact on the violation which can be committed by that promoter. Now, what happens is, suppose somebody has advertised, a promoter has advertised this project, and based on the advertisements, uh, allottee has gone and invested in that particular project, and after say a period of time, when the allottee feels that whatever has been promised at the time of booking of that particular apartment has is not what he is actually going to get, or it is not what is being delivered by the promoter, then obviously there is a violation of section 12 of the RERA Act. So the promoter is obviously the person who is liable for advertising or giving the right information to the allottees who are going to purchase the flat or the apartment in that particular real estate project. So this is one section where there can be a violation. The second section, which is section 13 of the Act, which states that earlier there was a act in which the investment made or the booking amount or the initial money which is paid to the promoter, after paying 20% of the total consideration amount of that flat, the agreement for sale was to be mandatorily registered as far as the earlier act was concerned. In case of Maharashtra, it was the Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act. Now, after the introduction of RERA, now it has become mandatory that after paying 10% of the total consideration amount of the flat, it is the liability of the promoter to come forward and go for registration of that particular agreement for sale. So after collecting 10% or without registering the agreement for sale, he cannot collect more than 10% of the total consideration amount from the allottee. So this, if he does that, if there is a violation of this particular act, or if he is committing a violation in this particular system wherein he collects more than 10% and does not register the agreement for sale, the allottee comes forward, pays more and wants to register, and he is backing out from registering the agreement for sale, then there is a violation of section 13 of the RERA Act. So this is another section where generally the disputes arise. The next section, which I would say is section 14, wherein the promoter is required to adhere to all the plans, the whatever plans have been sanctioned, approved by the competent authority, the planning authority. He has to adhere to the plans which have been submitted or which have been approved by the authority and which have been actually shown to the allottee or the home buyer at the time of buying that particular apartment. So if there is any violation in that particular section, wherein the promoter does a lot of violation in the structural changes happening in that particular project, then obviously there is a violation of section 14 of the RERA Act. Probably the other 2-3 sections, section 15, section 16, and section 17, they belong to, or they consider the violations wherein it's not of much of. Section 15 may not come often, or may not be a thing which a individual allottee may be required to go and approach the authority. Even in case of section 16, which confines to the insurance of that particular real estate project, and section 17, which pertains to the conveyance, giving the conveyance of that land in the name of the society, which, or the association of allottees, as the case may be. So these sections, maybe there may be a violation of such sections as well, but these sections may not be probably filed by an individual allottee most of the times. It is always most of the times filed by the association or the group of uh, allottees coming together and then forming an association and then approaching the authority. So these are some of the violations. The most important violation, or most important section, rather I should say, wherein maximum of more than 70 to 80% of the disputes which have been created comes under section 18. Now, what does section 18 say? Section 18 says that whatever the the promoter has committed as far as the possession date, as far as the possession is concerned about that particular flat or that particular apartment, then if he is not able to deliver the flat on that particular date, then the promoter is liable to return back the principal amount, also along with the whatever interest applicable on that, and also the compensation part of it. So all these three things come under section 18: the return of principal, the interest applicable on the principal, and the compensation which is applicable as well. So all these three, and most of the disputes as of now, more than 70 to 80% of disputes which have been filed, or the complaints which have been filed, pertain to section 18 of the RERA Act, which tells about return of amount and compensation. So these are some of the main sections under which most of the disputes or most of the complaints have been filed. There is another section which is section number 19. Under section 19, which also talks about, we have been talking about violations committed by the promoter, but there is another section exclusively for the rights and duties of the allottees themselves. So the allottees, the home buyers, also have some rights and duties which they have to also adhere to if they are investing in a particular project. Like they have to pay all their EMIs or installment or demands whenever raised on time. They have to take the possession of the flat as and when given to the allottee. Then they have to come forward and cooperate and participate in the society formation or conveyance, all those things. So there may also be some violations in this particular section as well. So a promoter can probably, if the allottee does not come forward and abide by whatever duties he is supposed to what do you say, carry across, then such violations, the promoter is also can also go ahead and file a complaint against that particular allottee under section 19 as well. Besides this, there are two more sections. We were talking about the real estate agents. Section 9 and section 10 talks about the registration of real estate agents, wherein any real estate agent who is wanting to do business with a project, a real estate registered project, has to be a registered real estate agent. So this person cannot actually sell flats in that registered real estate project if he is not a registered real estate agent. And moreover, if he is not registered and he commits some sort of a what is that, some dispute comes across while doing any transaction related to this particular violation committed under this by this real estate agent, then those things come under the functions of real estate agent, which is given under section 10 of the RERA Act. So these are some of the complaints which generally arise either through the allottee or by the promoter or to the real estate agent. Now, there are different applications which are provided under the rules of how to file the complaint with the RERA authority. There is a form A, which obviously all the complaints to be filed with the RERA authority falls under section 31 of the Act. So under section 31, there is rule 6, which actually prescribes. There's a Form A which is provided for filing of the complaint before the authority. So this particular section, this particular form, rather I should say, Form A, will pertain to all other sections other than Section 12, Section 14, 18, and 19. So violations committed under Section 12, 14, 18, and 19 will have to be filed under Form B, or they have to be filed to a. There are two, as I told you, even in case of Maharera authority, there are two officials who basically adjudicate at their for under different sections. So violations which fall under section 12, 14, 18, and 19, and precisely I should say section 18.3, because in case of Maharera, in case of Maharashtra, section 18.1 is dealt by the honorary member himself or themselves rather, and the other sections like violation of 12, 14, 80, 18.3 and 19 are dealt by the adjudicating officer, who is the person who is adjudicates on the compensation which needs to be provided to the complainant. So all these four sections need to be filed under Form B, which is provided in the rules, and there are formats also given wherein in detail the complainant has to file. There is a prescribed format wherein various headings which are given as the date of filing, the date of received by post. Earlier it was received by post, now it's an online complaint filing. So all the complaint needs to be filed online now. So there is no physical filing which is available as far as the RERA authority is concerned. The appellate tribunal has a different set of rules defined there. So as far as the RERA authority is concerned, it is an online application which needs to be filed, and it needs to mention the cause title, wherein who is the complainant, who is the respondent, then the particulars of the complainant need to be given, then the particulars of the respondent needs to be stated there with all his office addresses, his communication address, his email ID, his telephone number, names, all those things, his what is his position in that company, the promoter company, then whether this particular project falls under the jurisdiction of the authority. That means whether this particular project is situated in this particular area where this particular authority has the right to adjudicate. So this also needs to be given. Then obviously comes the facts of the case. On what facts? What are the facts on which you are banking on? You have to build the facts of the case. Then you have to state the violations which are committed by that particular respondent. And then after stating the violations, you have to also on what grounds you are claiming that reliefs. The grounds needs to be stated clearly, and then obviously the final one is the relief which you are claiming from the authority, and if there are any interim reliefs also which you can claim, there is also a provision for claiming interim relief here. So interim reliefs can also be claimed by the complainant. So all these things, there is a specific format which is given. So you have to fill up this particular form A or form B as the case may be, and upload this complaint in the RERA portal, which has the you may say the portal is equipped to accept online complaints on the particular box which is given there. And there is a, in case of Maharashtra, there is a complaint filing fees of rupees 5,000, which also needs to be deposited. And on basically what happens is, after you compile all these documents, whatever documents I have told, all these documents need to be scanned first, and after scanning all these documents as per the size which has been prescribed as a 1 MB size for each document, it cannot exceed more than 1 MB. So all the documents need to be scanned, and after scanning, it has to be uploaded in the Maharera portal website. And after uploading the documents, you have to pay the specific fees of rupees 5,000 rupees, wherein your complaint filing, the whole process gets completed after you pay the particular amount. So once this amount is paid and the complaint is filed, then as I told you, as of the complaint goes to the Maharera authority, and after being filed, then the authority will decide whether this complaint falls or whether we have filed it in the right way. Whether sometimes what may happen is you may file a form B, which probably you may refer to the authority by mistake, you may file it in form B. So those previously some parties were given liberty to correct that application as well. I don't know whether that still exists, but you may take the liberty of the particular authority and what you say, amend the application as well. That is available, and then it depends on what matter it is. The particular complaint is goes across, and it is associated to a particular member or the adjudicating officer, as the case may be. Once the complaint is filed, after say about 45 days to 60 days time, generally hearing date is actually sent through email to both the parties. And as you have scanned and uploaded the document, as the complainant has scanned and uploaded the document, it is available for view in the Maharera website itself for the respondent to actually go across and see what are the documents which have been uploaded as a complaint. And this is, as I told you, regarding the section wise, 12, 14, 18, and 19 goes to the adjudicating officer, and the other sections fall under the jurisdiction of the members. The three members which are who are available in case of Maharera, and there is one adjudicating officer at present who is adjudicating the matter. Now, notice of hearing goes to both the parties, and both the parties are required to be present during the hearing. The hearings are held as per the whatever set procedures which are laid down, and also as per the principles of natural justice, there is notice as well as time given for both the parties to appear and put forth their arguments. And after the arguments, the specific member or the adjudicating officer finally may give an order or an interim order, as the case may be. So this is how the complaints are filed in case of the RERA authority is concerned. And in case of the after the order, if the party or the complainant or the respondent, whoever it may be, feels aggrieved or needs or thinks that he needs to challenge that particular order, he may have he has actually three options of going ahead and sort of reviewing that order. One position is he can go ahead and seek rectification of the order in case of any grammatical mistake or any small mistakes which it would have occurred in the order. Under section 39, a rectification is possible. There is also a review possible of the orders given by the authority. Under regulation 36, an order can be reviewed, wherein if in case some of the facts have not been considered, documentary proofs have not been considered, or some additional documents were not submitted and the complainant wants to submit and seeks permission, so a review is also possible under say, regulation 36. Or if the person does not feel that he needs to exercise these two options, the third option available is obviously to challenge the order given by the authority before the Honorable RERA Appellate Tribunal under section 44. So these are the provisions and the various of complaints which can be filed.